You know, it's this Roe versus Wade thing. I saw it in the news and I need a mental health day. Right. Fuck you. Show up at work.
European countries have a point in this more relaxed approach to like the future and your life.
Yeah. Joe Rogan's own subreddit is turning on him over some recent elitist comments. Now, I will show you various examples of that in a minute here. I'm going to show you this clip. It is just another example in a pattern that's been going on for years now. So as a former avid viewer of the Joe Rogan podcast, I'm well aware of his shift towards a more conservative, leaning show. That is very obvious. Yes, he still has people on that aren't just conservative, but come on. If you look at the list, it's striking how many more conservatives he has on compared to people who are pushing, progressive values. So I'm going to play that for you. I'm also going to play a clip from 4 years ago showing how different he was on this very topic. So first, here are his comments that he made recently on a podcast with Gad Saad about getting time off for a mental health day.
I lean far more left than I do right because I grew up on welfare. I grew up in poverty. We had food stamps when I was a kid. I remember those times. I remember being poor. And I will never say that I don't believe in social services or a social safety net. I think that's crazy. That saved my family. It saved me. And my parents worked their way out of it. My mom and my stepdad worked their way out of that and eventually got off of it and eventually did well. Like a friend of mine who's an employer, she employs people, and she was saying that like some of her employees are saying, I need a mental health day today. She's like, you're not sick. Get the fuck to work. Right. What are you talking? You want to get paid for this mental health day? Show the fuck up. Right. We're not talking about your parents just died in a car accident. No, you have a high level of anxiety today. It's this Roe versus Wade thing. I saw it in the news and I need a mental health day. Right. Fuck you. Show up at work. Show up at work and work harder. Get the fuck out of here.
You need to be a bit more animated, Joe.
I get so crazy about it because I know what it is.
All right, so before I even comment on this and show you some reactions, many of the reactions online from viewers and former viewers, and also a clip from 4 years ago showing a very different Rogan, I have to say, I looked for the context for this clip because the one that was shared on Reddit was only like 15 seconds. It was just the, get back to work portion. I now need a mental health day because I had to watch 3 hours of this podcast only to find that this was at the very end of the episode. Now, it was on 2x speed, so I got to save a little time there, but my God, the amount of garbage that was thrown, there could be like 6 or 7 stories on the amount of shit he talked about during this insane episode with Gad Saad, but let's put that aside because I want to get to these reactions online. So first, credit here to Humanist Report for sharing this out. He's a great YouTube show. I'll link to below the video. Check out the Humanist Report. Now, before I show you the comments online, the clip they shared on Reddit did not show you the part where he's talking about his upbringing and his family working hard to get out of poverty and supporting a safety net and being progressive. Good. How do you not, from that experience, understand how lucky you were? That your parents lived in a time where hard work did sometimes could pay off. Let me show you. I mean, and Rogan knows this as well because of previous commentary he's done, but it's like he separates parts of his mind depending on who's in the podcast in front of him. Because this from the Economic Policy Institute, the gap between productivity and a typical worker's compensation has increased dramatically since 1979. So, back in the 70s, maybe early 80s, when Rogan was younger and his parents were working hard to get out of poverty and had a more of a safety net, they actually got rewarded. Or I shouldn't say rewarded, but they actually earned, they worked and they earned what they worked for. Yet since then, productivity continues increasing, yet compensation barely does. So you see this clear separation here between hard work and the money you make from that hard work. Rogan, his complaint are that people aren't working hard enough, even though all data shows that they are. You would think someone who grew up in poverty understands this, would have a little more empathy, a little more understanding for people who are in a situation where they are working insane hours and not getting paid enough, that maybe taking a day off, mental health day, sick day, whatever it is, taking a day off is a very, one of their only outlets for a break to actually live a proper life separate from the work they have to do to just stay above water. I mean, for him to, this shows you how elitist he has become. And this is why people have stopped listening, and why you're going to see a lot of these reactions online are people that just, they can't relate to him anymore. So he was once a person who understood, the plight of the worker, and a lot of his commentary now, not all of it, but a lot of it now is just this. Now, I will say before I go further, I'm not going to comment on, the abortion rights aspect of this. He has come out to support abortion rights. He's against the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So again, Rogan has, still good positions that exist. But this mentality in terms of the pressure on the worker and him not being aware of that, or not wanting to acknowledge that, or the importance of that, is just, it's glaring, and it's been going on for years now. So some reactions, I just want to share this as well. This is another example of this recently, this mindset. Rogan doesn't get why men take paternity leave. So that also made the news. Though I think after the reaction, he came out to change his mind, or at least, alter his perspective a little bit after there was some good perspectives or opinions that were taking him down. But all right, let's get to some reactions now to this before I get to the clip from 4 years ago. So this one here, Joe Rogan during COVID. Quote, mental health is extremely important. We need everybody or everything open, and the government telling you what to do with your body by forcing vaccines is authoritarian. Joe during Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. LOL, F you and your mental health. Just work, you stupid cog. And the government telling you what to do with your body is no big deal, you pussies. Yeah. It's definitely, the disconnect there is clear. This comment, imagine being so mentally weak that you take a day off for being sad while Joe is preparing his new lethal comedy techniques in his mansion, all while conquering his inner bitch in the sauna. This just made me laugh. The poor stool won't know what hit it. Joe knows that life's real struggles take place in 20-minute increments in the sauna. Again, going to Joe's very disconnected, very privileged life now that he is incredibly wealthy from doing a podcast where he just sits down and talks to people. I mean, Rogan knows, and I think he's acknowledged this, that this isn't work for him. This is, him having fun. People doing actual work, as I'll get to, example in a second here. This person who was an essential worker during the pandemic. These are the actual workers, the people that hold society up, that, let them have a mental health day every now and then. Like, who, for that to bother you, what should bother you is they aren't getting enough time off. And that's what used to bother him, as I will show you shortly. But this comment here, before COVID, I also subscribed to the just work hard pussy. Then COVID hit, and as an essential worker, I continued working hard while everybody chilled at home. So 5 days a week, working 8 to 10 hour shifts, keeping society from collapsing, only to come home to my 300 square foot apartment and do nothing. That is hard work. That is hard life. And did we get any reward for it? Nothing. Oh, sure, we got a bonus, but it was crumbs compared to what the managers and coordinators got, even though they stayed home all day and we kept society running. Yeah, these are the workers, and they're the ones feeling the brunt of this. Another comment here. I've never commented on this sub before, but as a listener since 2013, what the F happened to this man? He is a different person in all the worst ways. And someone replied saying, there's a lot of us out there. Joe grew his base by tapping into the Alex Jones well of fans. Old fans versus new fans are very different. Old fans are all scratching their heads and fishing for tasty crumbs of some of the old good stuff, but the recipe has changed and much tastes awful. This is, I think, very true. How old fans are, grabbing or looking for the crumbs of some of the old stuff. Like that, the moment there where I showed you, where he talked about his upbringing and living in poverty and his parents working hard and having a safety net. He's progressive. He supports a strong safety net. That's the crumb in what is a large, giant piece of poo that is the majority of that 3-hour podcast that I was forced to listen to find that clip. Two more responses here. So this person says, Joe has always been a nut. He's just nutty in a way that rubs a lot of people, myself included, the wrong way lately. When he pushes conspiracies about the moon landing or whatever, no one cared and just laughed it off because it was inconsequential. When he pushes conspiracies about COVID during a pandemic, it's harder to laugh it off because it had a legit real world impact. I think making big money has definitely shifted his views to be more conservative as well. Completely. Last one here, and this goes into the video that I'm going to show you. This guy used to talk about the plight of a dead office job or the way people's lives suck working 9 to 5. He's so out of touch, it's wild. All right, so let's get to this clip. This is from 4 years ago with Ari Shafir, a comedian, and him being clearly very different on this topic.
European countries have a point in this more relaxed approach to like the future and your life. They really do. This conqueror's mentality. I wonder how many heart attacks we have in comparison to European people.
I don't know.
You know what's fucked up?
What?
Sick time. Like I ran out of sick days.
Yeah, exactly.
Like what? What do you mean?
You're sick.
Like you're sick.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine telling somebody, like, buddy, you're out of sick days. I'm gonna have to dock your pay. And you're dying. What? I can't breathe. They got you on IVs and shit. I don't care. You're out of sick days. In order to keep revenue flowing, we must keep you in the process.
Yeah.
What? You have a certain amount of days you're allowed to be sick.
They get it better in other places.
They absolutely should.
There's
First
an
of all,
expectation that you go fucking see the world and go do stuff. Or
40-hour work week is bullshit.
Bullshit.
It's
You're not
bullshit.
productive that level.
Nobody should do it.
Look at how different that Joe Rogan was. Standing up for the working class, calling bullshit on the 40-hour work week, and talking about, the importance of sick days, yet modern Joe Rogan yelling at people for taking 1 day off of work because they're stressed or it's Roe v. Wade or whatever the hell the reason is. Who cares what the reason is? Getting angry because they want to take a day off of work. Yeah, a very different Rogan. And quickly here are, this is some recent data from the demographics of what Rogan's audience is. So this shared by Morning Consult a few months ago. Looking at views in terms of Democratic, Independent, Republicans. So you see here a plurality of his avid fans are Republican at 46%, Democratic at 23%, Independent at 31%. And in terms of ideology, liberal, moderate, conservative, 54%, and majority are conservative, 28% moderate, and 19% liberal. So not all that surprising to see that's who is now the majority of Rogan's audience.